All right. Episode 2, Phil and Chase watch everything. Phil watches everything. Chase tries to keep up.
Phil took the reins this week.
He did. Phil hit the ground running. But
said watch everything and everything I tried.
yeah. So this one's more Phil driven this week, I think. But luckily you watched a lot of ones I've seen already.
Yeah.
So that helps. I guess up front, spoilers for everything.
For the most part. I don't think everything.
For the most part.
I don't think,
if
it's a Phil-driven episode, not everything's going to get
He's going to play it close to the chest. He's good at that, but not me. I'm just going to be like, listen, this is what happened. No, I feel like I thought that, and I went back and listened to episode 1, and I was like, I guess that's not a spoiler per se. And I was like, sometimes we get into the spoilers, but other times I'm like, we're just talking about it. It's fine. You don't know what the fuck we're talking about. It's fine, but just in case, just to cover the bases.
Yeah,
just assume we're going to say something that you're going to be like, man, I wish I didn't know that.
Right.
But now you do, so.
Just in case.
Just in case.
Always got to be prepared.
Spoilers, asterisk, just in case.
Just in case.
Just in case.
Listeners, beware.
There you go. Perfect for the season. Because we're still rolling in the spooky season. Still watching the spooky flicks.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, you hit the ground running this week.
Let's see. What did I
What
did I start with?
Watch. I know what I started with.
I think I might have watched Happy Death Day and Happy Death Day 2. I watched them back to back.
Yep.
And that was a fun experience.
Yeah.
I enjoyed them. I got a good kick out of it. I was like, you know what? I enjoy like a good like little love rom-com. Throw a little fucking mix of mystery and horror in there. It was a good flick, man. I didn't no problems.
I enjoy both of them. I think they're fun. Yeah, I think they're fresh. I think they got a nice little spin. I feel like I've seen Happy Death Days thing done a few times. And I don't mean the Groundhog Day thing, I guess. I guess I mean like the serial killer spin to like the time travel and all that shit. I feel like that's been done a lot since Happy Death Day. Probably,
just because it was popular, I'm sure.
But I feel like Happy Death Day did it best. And then like the sequel was good too.
I feel at first they tricked me at first because they made it look like it was gonna be from the Asian dude's perspective. Famous.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh no, actually it's back to her, but she's in a different reality.
Right, they switch it up on you a little bit.
Man, and she had to make a tough choice there at the end.
Did you ever see the movie Freaky?
Oh yeah, with Vince Vaughn.
Yeah. The same guy directed that, and he said that I believe they take place like within the same universe, but there's been talks of like doing a crossover, like a Freaky Death Day or something.
A Freaky Death Day,
yeah. I was like, I'd watch it. You're telling me you get Freaky Friday and Groundhog's Day landed on the same day? What are the odds? That's crazy shit.
And speaking of Groundhog's Day, have you ever actually watched Groundhog's Day?
I have not.
I have.
With Bill Murray? No.
Yep. I lived in Woodstock, which is where it was filmed. They absolutely
just had it on a loop.
They loved it. They had
huge screens in the courtyard.
They had a huge mural. They had burgers named after them. It was like they took pride in it. They really loved the fact that Bill Murray shot Groundhog's Day there. So, and thankfully I watched the movie beforehand. I moved there like, who the fuck is Bill Murray? What's Groundhog's Day? You know what I'm saying? Right.
Crawled out of a rock and moved to Woodstock, apparently.
But
yeah, Happy Death. And just not too long ago, we had that film festival here in Champaign. And I met Rob Mello, who played like the bad guy in Happy Death Day. At least the guy under the mask. That was like the serial killer guy.
Got you.
He was there, and he was a very laid back guy. Because he had a movie playing there when Exorcism played.
Nice.
But yeah, I talked to him for a little bit, and yeah, just laid back dude, it seems. So that's
pretty cool.
Yeah,
that's cool.
So now I've got a little bit more of a personal connection to Happy Death Day, just on that one little meet. But they're good flicks. I enjoy them.
They were good. I thought it was a nice It was a good, like, one back to back. Even was even better. I was like, this was.
It's a fun double feature.
It was a very fun double feature. I really definitely.
I like. I forget her name, the lead chick in that movie, but she was also. I actually think the actress's name might be Jessica Rathbone, might be her name, but she was also in that movie we both just recently watched, Boy Kills World, because she played the. I won't say because that is a spoiler, but she was like the chick with the helmet on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
But I like her. I feel like she's a great actress. Apparently, she was in La La Land.
Oh.
On her IMDb, it says known for La La Land. I was like, really? What? Who was she in La La Land? She was.
I don't know her.
Well, she was one of Emma Stone's roommates for like the one musical sequence. I was like, oh, and she's known for that. I feel like, I'd probably put different movies in there, but no. She was good. Don't get me wrong, but I was like, I don't know if that's what I'd be like.
But I've seen La La Land. I can't even think of what that scene is. So.
I don't know what to tell you. I was going to attempt, but I'm just like, that would take too much time.
Yeah, no need.
We're not talking about La La Land. Shit. Happy Death Day. Love it. Yeah, love it. It's good.
And then I think I watched Fright Night.
Fright Night. Yeah, you watched both of them, right?
Yes, I did. I watched the newer one first.
Yeah, which I did the same thing.
And then I thought it was.
Well, I saw it when it came out.
Oh, see, I didn't.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
Also, 2011, just like Scream 4.
Yes.
From the last episode, because Phil did look it up.
I did look it up.
Yeah.
Just to make sure. But yeah, no, it was. They were good. I enjoyed the second one more after I watched like the original.
Yeah.
Just because it's like I did enjoy like stuff that they kept, like the dude eating the apple.
Yeah.
Apples the whole time, like they both did that. Just little things.
Yeah.
It was pretty much the same movie, but they like modernized it essentially. So I thought that was pretty. I enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it. I like Colin Farrell, and I like the other dude, Anton Yelchin.
Yeah.
Who passed too soon.
Rest in peace, man.
Yeah, dude. He was great. Alpha Dog, so many good ones.
Oh
yeah. But yeah, that was great cast. Had one of my favorite actresses plays the mom, Toni Collette, who's in Hereditary and Little Miss Sunshine. Played the mom in that too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, love her. Probably might be my favorite actress.
Oh,
might be my number one. If somebody's like, "Who's your favorite actress of all time?" I might have to say Toni Collette. I think she's fucking extraordinary, dude.
That's awesome.
She's a phenomenal actress. Yeah, you saw Hereditary.
I did.
That's all the argument I need.
I did.
If you need more, I'd immediately. She's got a TV show called United States of Terror.
You did love that show.
I fucking loved it, dude.
You were very upset when
I was like 3 seasons, but you know what? At the same time, I'm glad. This is why shows should end. Not just keep going on because we like them. Like, sometimes you need that cutoff point to be like, fuck, that was so good. Like, and they didn't spoil it. They just kind of left you, I would hate if they're like, we're going to reboot it or do a little just don't.
Just leave it the way it was.
Just leave me. Just leave me be.
Yeah, I get that. I do enjoy when a show just has like its intent. It's like it tells its story and it's done. That's what I enjoyed about like with Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
I'm sure they could have just kept on making, new villains and just keep like, but at some point like just close it. Like it was nice. It was a nice story. You know what I'm saying? A full arc.
Yeah.
But you haven't finished. You need to get on it.
But no, the 2011 Fright Night, like I said, I saw that in 2011. Stacked cast in it. Colin Farrell's great. And I enjoyed it at the time, and then probably like 10 years or so later, I watched the old one. So there's a big gap, I feel like.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And I remember enjoying the old one, but I haven't seen it as much. But yeah, I enjoyed those. They're pretty good. Pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't say anything.
Anything more about it? I'm rendered
about
speechless.
What else? I think that would be a good time to get into the Candymans.
I was at perfect transition because I was going to say, I think that next year my theme should be a season of sequels because I feel like there's all these movies where like I've seen the movies but I haven't seen the sequels. Fright Night is a good example.
Yeah,
usually like I've seen the original and the remake, but like the sequels, like the legacy of this thing, I don't know it. And it's like Fright Night. I know Fright Night's probably a really bad example of this. I know it's got like a sequel or two.
I think it's just one sequel.
I think because if I'm not mistaken, there's the one sequel. There's like the Fright Night Part 2 of the original, but then I think there's also a Fright Night Part 2 of the 2011 one. That was like a straight to DVD. Yeah. So there's a little bit of a franchise there. 4 movies I feel like warrants a franchise.
Does it though? Like it's just like if it's a remake of the first and second one, is it really a franchise? Yes, it is 4 movies, but it's not 4 like.
Question of the day, boys and girls: Is it a franchise? What makes a franchise a franchise? Just like last week, what makes a horror movie a horror movie? We're hitting with the big questions.
Yeah,
Phil and Chase test everything.
Something to chew on,
Something to chew on, which we love. We do in our stories and in life, apparently. We just love something to chew on. Something to think over.
I always love to question movies. That's why sometimes like I feel bad. It's like even like going back and listening to it, it's like I feel like I'm just so negative towards some of these movies sometimes, and it's not always the case. It's just very opinionated. I'm the type of person I'll talk to movies.
Yeah. What are you doing?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's just like why?
Yeah.
Why is this happening? Why so?
But yeah, the sequel thing, like the Fright Night and stuff, like there's others like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. They a bunch of sequels there. Haven't seen any of them, so I feel like next year I should just like watch all these sequels because I feel like I know what I'm getting myself into.
Right.
But they just don't inspire me to watch the sequels. And that being said, a little segue. Candyman, bro. Yeah, let's talk about Candyman.
Let's get into it.
So, we watched all 3 of them.
Yes.
Technically, there's 4. You have not seen the remake.
I did not.
I have.
I had enough Candyman after watching 2 and 3. I was like, I need some time.
I wouldn't blame anybody who's like, But the way the remake is set up is kind of like the 2018 Halloween, where it's
I knew it was going to be
watch the OG, then you watch like the 2021 Candyman back to back. And in that regard, it's not bad. Because in the original Candyman, there's the thing with the woman who's a waitress or something has the baby who gets taken at the end.
Yeah, well, like more towards like the beginning.
Well, fair enough.
Yeah,
but it goes on till the end.
It goes on till the very end.
It takes a while to resolve itself.
Yeah. It's a very
so
thing.
The baby, the remake or reboot or whatever the fuck, the 2021 version is about that baby grown up.
Gotcha.
And shit. They even bring back the actress who played the mom in the original and everything. Very focused on the art world as well, which I enjoyed that aspect of it. Because that original Candyman, I told you, is in my top 10 horror movies.
You did.
It really is. And I only saw it for the first time like maybe 3 or 4 years ago now. And I don't know, man. I don't know if it's like the Illinois connection with like it being in Chicago, these being very real places. Like, just there's a classiness about it. It's definitely, I said last time about it, is it a ghost story or is it a slasher? I also said I haven't seen the sequels, so I wouldn't know if that's where the slasher thing comes into play. Yes, the answer is yes. I definitely see where it got more slashery as it went on. We'll get more into that when we get to the third movie, but that first movie, I just think it's very classy. I like the gothic, like urban, like romance, like it almost feels like a paperback novel in a way, the way it like plays out. Like I just like it. There's just like a vibe to it that I really enjoy, and I don't know, little pieces of horror history. I don't know, everything just works. Tony Todd is great, no relation, no
relation
as the Candyman, but like it was never a movie that I'm like, I've got to watch this franchise. It was just such a good movie that I'm like, they didn't need to make anything else. Right. So that's where I stand on the first movie. The second movie, I got into the second movie and I was like, I was right. This is unnecessary. and that's mostly what I felt about the second one. Was it bad? Was it terrible? Not necessarily. Like, I watched it. It was fine. It was mostly forgettable. And I felt like it was a rehash. And maybe it really was the Chicago thing in the first one. I don't know. But when we moved to New Orleans, I'm like, you're losing me. Like, it's weird. I felt like we were just like rewriting the rules of Candyman a little bit. And it just felt weird. And the whole thing with like the bloodline felt super fucking bizarre to me too.
And then they kept running with it.
And then they fucking kept running with it, dude. And that's where the third movie comes around. And like immediately, like the movie starts. And like the first frame of this movie, I'm like, what the fuck are we doing? This doesn't feel like all the class that was there. Even the second one had a little bit of it because they still had the original composer, that little which I dig. I think it's a fun little. I feel like it's up there with Michael Myers' little ditty.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But no, like immediately, like chicks like in that fucking. I got a bit of a rant for this one. I've been saving up for Candyman 3. I ain't gonna lie to you. The fucking so like the chick's standing in front of the mirror, right?
Yeah.
And she's in this fucking like tank top and underwear. And then it's like this kind of thing, it's like you see it all the time in movies like this. But like in Candyman, it felt super weird. And I'm like, the way it was lit, the way it was shot, she's standing there. I'm like, why is this sexy? Like, I don't understand why this is happening. So I was waiting for like a punchline. I was waiting for it to be like a stab movie kind of thing where I was like, oh, they made a Candyman movie within Candyman. Okay, all right, cool. We moved to LA. Why did we move to LA? I thought this was New Orleans. So this is just what we're doing with Candyman. We're just hopping around from place to place. I don't like that with my Candyman, but that's a whole other thing. So anyways, I'm watching it and there's all these scenes where I'm like, why is this like so overtly sexual, like for no fucking reason? Like I just felt it in this movie. It felt like I was watching a porno, like a softcore porno. And it's like, so then I read that the lead actress was a Playboy Playmate at the time. I was like, okay, that's answering a lot of questions. That's clearing a lot of things up. But when she signed up for the movie, I was reading this in the little trivia stuff. She was like, I'm not going to do nudity in this movie. Like, you're not going to just hire me so I'll get naked on, for your shit.
On screen.
And that was part of her thing. And, I just like, I read this and I'm watching this movie and I'm just thinking to myself, there was like a room full of people who were like, oh, yeah, totally. That's fine. Yeah, you don't have to get naked. And then she left the room and they were like, what the fuck are we going to do? So that was our whole thing. And then like the whole movie, there's just all these moments where I'm like, they're like, all right, fine. Yeah, no, you don't want to be naked, that's fine, but you're never wearing a bra.
You're in a white tank top.
You're in a white tank top the whole time. We're keeping temperatures below freezing. We are fucking gonna put you in the shower.
It's not hot in LA.
You're gonna take a shower and have a good cry, but we're gonna shoot that from overhead and get all the cleavage we can, the cleavage coverage. But listen, you're not gonna be naked. We're not gonna do that.
We will not show your titties.
We will have. And then, not to mention the plot of like, okay, you're really hamming up this whole thing where this little white girl is the great granddaughter of a slave who got fucked up, which was a good story on its own. Yeah, you didn't need the white grandkids, It's a weird turn.
Because that was weird. Because I knew like going like watching, I was like, okay, it's like the daughter or whatever.
Yeah,
and then it was like. What was weird though was like the sexual scenes like between her and Candy.
Exactly.
I'm like, this is like you're talking about like y'all being blood and shit.
Yeah, he's like my blood. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here?
It was definitely weird. It was I kind of checked out.
I'm like, seriously, like, no relation.
To the end because it was like towards the carnival. I was just like, I was burnt out, dude. I was like, I don't care anymore. Because
I cranked up for me, man. 2 was unnecessary. 3 was unnecessary and fucking stupid. Also, I didn't even, I just remembered this, the biggest one of them all. Like, because I mean, as if it's not bad enough that he's, her fucking like great-great-grandfather is just like macking on her, which is just fucking gross.
Yeah.
Like, the whole time, I've never felt a movie sexualize a woman so much, like, for that sake. Like, and it felt like it the whole time I'm watching the movie. I'm like, this doesn't feel like it wasn't intentional, you know what I mean?
Right.
And then the other one, okay, so the first one takes place in like 1992, like when the movie comes out, right?
Right.
The second one, I feel like falls in line with like that timeline, okay? 25 years later is Candyman 3, which actually came out like, I don't know, 3 years after the last one.
Right.
There's a 25-year time jump. Like, what fucking year is it? And why does it still look like the 90s? Like, this is fucking, like, I don't understand this. It's like, why did we make a 25-year time jump? That just felt bizarre.
Time never changed.
But
the culture stayed. It just...
that was my ride.
It was just 25 years later.
With this, with this franchise, I think if I'm ever going to rewatch them, it's definitely just going to be the first and maybe the remake sometimes, the reboot. Because I never want to watch 2 and 3 again. Like, it's just Sully's the Candyman franchise for me.
It does.
So what was your experience?
I don't know. I feel like my biggest thing like with Candyman is I feel like the whole thing is like if you say his name 5 times in the mirror, he comes and kills you.
Right.
Or whatever.
Right.
I get that. But then he just kills anybody. Like it doesn't even happen in the first one. Like when she was sitting there talking to the doctor and he just came out of nowhere and just stabbed, like just cut him up and stuff. And it's just like why didn't he I get that like what he reminded her of his ex or whatever. So like he wanted her. Like I get that whole aspect of it, but then it's like people are just dying. Yeah. For no, like it's like for the sake of just having some kills in there to make her look more crazy. But
the only thing, we'll see what you just said. I picked up on that. Like I feel like in the later ones too, where it's like there's always that one person where it's like everybody else says it and they get killed. Like is the rules, you know. But there's always that one person. Like and it always seems to be like the chick that he's backing on.
And the second one, also family.
Exactly.
He doesn't even higher up. It was just a great...
Still just as weird. Yeah.
Great grandchild.
But fucking... Those people, I feel like he does that because I picked up on that probably in the third one. I feel like
I picked up on it on the second one, but it's just
where it's like he's just gonna make you seem so crazy that nobody's gonna believe you.
Yeah,
you know? And like that's
so I don't know, but then it just breaks.
But I feel
but it breaks. Like it just if you have rules,
stick to them. I
totally that was like my biggest.
I totally agree
because it happened the whole time. Just like. So if you call Candyman, he's just somebody. Like change the rules then. Say if you say his name 5 times, then he, but don't say he just kills you. Yeah. And then the one scene I thought I always have a silly scene. One scene that
Billy thinks it's silly.
One thing that I was like, I don't know, was in the first one when like by the mirror and it was like that gigantic arm where the hook comes out.
Yeah,
it was like. This wasn't necessary. He was supposed to pop up behind you. Like, why is he busting through the fucking mirror with like Freddy Krueger? You know what I'm saying? Like that's kind of how I felt about it. But yeah, so I don't know. I mean, it wasn't like my favorite thing to sit there, and watch through. I can appreciate kind of like what the intent was with it and stuff like that. Like it wasn't like the worst films I've ever seen, but. I don't know. It's just like I said, like with the rules thing, like that kind of.
Totally agree with you. I can vibe with that because when we did
into it.
When Shep and I did 25 Slaves of Christmas, we watched the 2012 version of Silent Night, and I believe it was that movie that I said the same thing. I'm like, if you set up rules for your killer or whatever, they should adhere to those rules. Like, because once they start breaking those rules, what's the point? Like then. I don't know. Then it just feels silly. But like his whole thing was like, if you're naughty, he's gonna kill you. Okay, and it tracked the whole movie. But then there was this one time where like just to up the body count, there's this random cop who was like good the whole time, and then he killed her. I'm like, well, that almost makes the whole movie fall apart. I'm like, you had like a code, and then you said, well, fuck the code. I'm gonna kill this very likable character just because she was here, because she was in the way. I'm like, oh well, now there's nothing. There's no credence to what she do. Like, You know.
Now you're just a cold-blooded killer.
No, so I feel you there. That's fair. I can dig on that. But yeah.
Yeah. And then why fuck with the baby? Like why? Like it's all, but he always he takes another victim just up to Annie too.
Right? Yeah.
It's like the baby didn't say Candyman 5 times. You know what I'm saying? Like
he's nothing if not theatrical. You know? He's very theatrical, romantic. That's what I'm saying about like the paperback novels. Like that's what Candyman feels like to me. Like
right,
where he's just very romantic, and you know.
And then definitely like in the second one.
Too romantic.
I was just like, I kind of like what you said. It's like, why New Orleans? Like, if you were placed in Chicago, then it's like, oh, but actually.
Which is like, I love stories that are set like in Louisiana and shit like that. Like, I usually am a big fan of that, but this felt so like unnecessary.
Like, I didn't mind like that aspect of it. It's just, I just like, why change it though?
Right.
It was just felt like, I didn't mind the setting, but it's just, why change the setting?
But then same with the third one. I was like, we did it again? Like, why?
Especially to acknowledge like what happened. Yeah. Like to say that he can travel is one thing. Like, it doesn't matter where you are. If you say his name 5 times from up here, but like to say, like, oh no, this is actually his origin story. And
right.
Because like I thought they said in the first one that he died in Chicago, like you know, so it's like,
well, actually,
but then they acknowledged what happened in the first one and the second one, so it's like, so which one is it? You can't.
Right. Which is why the reboots get a little 1-2 punch because it just keeps it in Chicago.
You know, so I mean that's fine. I mean, I'll have to watch the reboot. Maybe it'll help change my mind a little bit.
Maybe on
it, but I feel like I've kind of set my stones where it's like.
Yeah. No, I feel you. It's
all right. Just okay.
Yeah, I feel like my season of sequels will just be a season of sadness. There's a lot of like, why did I fucking do this year? I could have been watching such good movies. All right, so another one. You watched the OG The Thing.
I did.
Well, I guess not technically the OG The Thing. You watched the 1980s John Carpenter The Thing.
Yeah, it goes further back.
Yes, there's one from like the 50s or 60s.
Oh goodness. I'm gonna have to watch it.
Yeah, I've never seen that one. That's the one I haven't seen. And honestly, it's been so long since I've seen what's up with these 2011 movies sneaking into our.
I have no
That's
idea.
weird. There's like that's a bizarre year to be so stuck on here. There's like a vibe to it for sure.
It was a scary year that year.
I guess so. But yeah, the Thing remake or sequel or whatever the fuck it ended up being. Or prequel, actually, I think, if I'm not mistaken. It ended up being like a sneaky prequel, if I'm remembering correctly, because it's like everything that happens up to like the original. But I have a controversial opinion on The Thing.
Let's hear it.
I don't like it.
I don't know. I mean, I guess I wouldn't say that like I enjoyed like the 1980 ones more. I felt like that I enjoyed. Well, I don't remember anything of the 2011 one, but I just remember I saw it in theaters. I remember leaving the theaters not happy. You know, so I wasn't like that was. I'm glad I spent my money on that type of.
I know I've seen it. I couldn't tell you anything.
No, but I don't know. I enjoyed the first one for what it was. I thought the scene where the dog changed and like all the tentacles are poking out the first time, like that. You know what? That's pretty cool. Stuff like that.
Every time I talk about The Thing, like credit where credit's due. The practical effects are fucking incredible. Like and that's why that movie gets talked about a lot. They're incredible. Man.
No, but there is a Philly thinks it's silly moments.
Oh, of course there is.
And it's towards the end they're doing the little blood test, right?
Right.
And so man jumps up out of the fucking little petri dish and fucking you got McCready and whatever the fuck his name was holding the flamethrowers.
Yeah.
Both have them, right?
Yeah.
So this thing is like full alien mode at this point.
Right.
Fucking McCready's clog jams up, can't get a fucking flame. Other dude just stands there. It's like what are you doing? Like you know what you're like up against at this point. Like this has been going on. Like you have a weapon that you know will kill it. Like why are you just staring at it? Like you're surprised. You know what I'm saying? I was like, and then what didn't even kill it? I think he ended up dying because of it. Yeah. And then I enjoyed the ending. Yeah. It left it up. Yeah. Was one of them an alien or not? You don't know because dude Childs, I think was his name, like took off at one point. And so there's the big final battle, and McCree's just like sitting there. He's not gonna make it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That, and so then they're both sitting there like, oh well, I guess we'll just wait and see what happens. And it's like, who knows what could. Maybe dude was an alien. The whole world got taken over, but they tried.
People fucking love the thing. So whenever I'm like, I was not a fan, because Shep felt the same way, because this was also, I think, in our first 25 Slays of Christmas. And we both were just like, God, what a boring fucking movie. And it has all the pieces of a movie that I should love. It's like, I love John Carpenter. I like Kurt Russell. Like, I like the mystery aspect. I like the practical effects, like all that shit, the sci-fi. But it just is a movie that I'm like, God, I hate watching this movie. It might be one where like I might just have to fast forward through the opening for a little bit and then get to where like things get juicy.
I thought it was weird opening, the dog just running and then just shooting at it.
Yeah.
Like I understood why.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like, but it just felt like unnecessarily long. It was like 6 minutes.
That's what I'm saying.
Of them just flying around shooting at this dog.
And I'm all for a slow burn, but like I feel like especially movies of that era, I've bitched about it at length about Texas Chainsaw Massacre, where it just feels like they loop things for time. I'm like, I swear to God, I'm watching the same footage. Like, this is the same shit I just watched, but you looped it, and now we're watching it again just to make it seem like she's still running through the wood. Like, what are we doing here? You know, shit like that, where I'm like, this is going far too long. We could have cut this for sure. But yeah, the thing, my last conversation with somebody about it, I did say maybe third time's the charm. I'll watch it. I will watch it again, like, because like I said, I mean, it's not terrible. Like, I'm not like, oh, I gotta watch the thing. Like, you know,
it's not the worst. No,
it's fine.
I
but
enjoyed it.
The first, like, it took me forever to sit through it the first time. Every time I started it, I could never get through the beginning. I'm like, ugh, fuck this, and I shut it off. I finally got through it the first time. I was like, well, I didn't. Okay, I was like, all right. Whatever. Second time, nope, still not really caring for this. So I don't know. Third time, everybody's like, no, dude, you gotta give it another chance. Alrighty then, I will one more time, and then I feel like I could probably stop watching it if I don't like it again. You know.
Well, I also didn't understand was why Kurt Russell had the cowboy hat the whole time. You're telling me it's like negative 40 degree weather, and he's just going. Everyone else is like suited up, and he has the fucking.
Because he's a fucking cowboy, and just in case it wasn't made clear, they needed to make it, that much more clear.
Yeah,
but
I guess
a good segue, unless you have more to add on the thing.
I don't think so.
A good segue is the practical effects being very good in the thing, but also I think very, very good in An American Werewolf in London, which you just watched.
I did just watch.
I saw for the first time last year. You did.
Week.
This is the beginning of our werewolf portion of the conversation. But yeah, I saw it for the first time last year, and I loved it.
Last year.
Yeah, I loved it, dude. I was like, man, it was one of those where I'm like, damn, how did I not see this sooner? Like, I love horror comedies.
It's been around since '86, I believe.
It's just one that always evaded me, that happens. And
yeah.
So when I finally did watch it, I was like, damn, I need to watch this again. The practical effects in it are amazing. I love the humor in it. I feel like it's a very well-made movie. The werewolf transformation is sick. And I told you, I think it's my favorite werewolf movie. I just feel like it's werewolves done right.
And you're not the only person to have an opinion. Mm-hmm. A lot of people will say it's their number one. I don't know if I'd say it's my number one yet.
To that I would say, what is your number one?
I don't know if I would. I don't even have.
It hasn't been made.
There hasn't been like a definitive, oh my, this is my favorite werewolf movie.
In all fairness, I don't feel like there is a werewolf movie like that. I feel like American Werewolf is like the closest it's ever gotten for me.
Yeah.
Of like, yes, this is which also begs the question, what the fuck do I want out of a werewolf movie that no werewolf movie has ever...
I feel like I haven't satisfied the werewolf in me. You know what I'm saying? There is...
We've always thought it's an underrated monster.
Yeah.
Vampires always...
I feel like if it is done, it's done like... not well. It's like gimmicky almost. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like...
Or like a very passive thing, maybe is a good way to put it, where it's like werewolf movie, you're just like, it's all about the humans. They're like, we're hunting this thing, and then you see the thing. It's never really about the werewolf. It's like, I feel like I want my movies to be about the werewolf. Like, I don't give a fuck that there's a werewolf in the woods fucking up everybody's shit. I don't care.
Right.
I don't care about that so much as like, what's going on with this person who's a werewolf.
Yeah,
you know,
because I did like that about the first one. I guess American Werewolf in London, and then I did watch American Werewolf in Paris.
Yeah,
which was I guess a sort of sequel. I think they just made it and just kind of ran with like the theme,
right?
Pretty much, because there was like it was weird, like because I watched it on Tubi. And we talked about it last week about things not being labeled correctly.
Yeah,
because it said horror,
right?
No comedy, just horror. Comedy. I was like, interesting, and then it turned it on. I'm like, well, god damn it, if they weren't wrong, like. Right.
Well, there's the first one was a horror comedy.
Yeah, that's why I was surprised that was like the sequels.
Oh, just more harder. Okay.
It's just I guess we're gonna get more spooky with it, and then it was not.
So it's pretty funny. Or just silly.
A little bit of both. I mean, it was silly. I enjoyed it. Yeah. I still thought it was pretty good. It held up there with me for the. In London, I felt like if you liked American Werewolf in London that day, I don't see why you went like the one in Paris. But that's also I don't know. There was more werewolves and stuff. There was like more of a whole thing with that aspect of it too. So maybe I enjoyed that more than just like the solo werewolf, and then he runs into a couple cars and then gets shot. That's kind of how I felt. The American Werewolf in London ended. Like I just remember like it happened. And then it was over. I was like, he smashed some shit up, and then the nurse came out and was like, Paul, and then.
Yeah. Well, you know, I feel like another one we'll get into a little bit more in a bit. Ginger Snaps kind of had a similar thing. I feel like, where it's like, you're watching the progression of the werewolf
like a slow burn.
You're like here. They're transforming, but once they like transform and like turn into a werewolf, it's like. Bada boom, bada bing, it's done. You know, like you don't actually get to see them be a werewolf necessarily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just thought what I was gonna say. I was gonna say something about the werewolves and slipped my mind. It just kind of completely just went away.
It was you said it just ended. I know that's with American Werewolf in London. It just kind of.
Oh yeah, he got shot and then he turned back and then it was done. Roll credits. Yeah. It's like, oh, okay. Like, I mean, I enjoyed it. I mean, I guess. Well, I don't know how to say it necessarily, but like I don't know how I felt about it. It was like the undead thing and like your spirit sticks around. Like I got that. Obviously, that was part of like the whole humor of it. I'm like, I just don't know if that is like, should that like, why is that like a werewolf thing? Like, why is that, you know? But they explained it. It was like a demonic spiritual type of thing, I guess. And so
which
they were at unrest. Yeah. Well, that's how he kept seeing his best friend.
Yeah. No, I totally forgot about that whole part of that movie.
Yeah. So that's what he's like. You have to kill yourself.
Well, that's why before I watched it, it was like shortly before I saw it, I found out a lot of things about the movie. Like I saw clips here and there, and I'm just like, the fuck is this movie really about? Like I just felt like I kept seeing things about it that I'm just like. What? Like, you know, what's going on in this world? I just thought a dude turned into a werewolf in London. Like, I thought that's all it was. But, like, the whole, like, zombie ghost friend that follows him around. And then there's that dream sequence that he has with, like, the Nazi mutant zombie things that show up. And it's just, like, super gruesome and violent all of a sudden. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, it all happened, but and it's just like so wild out of nowhere. And I saw that scene on something. Maybe it was like that list of like 100 scariest movie moments or something. But they were talking about that scene, and they're like, "Yeah, it's fucking crazy," and it is. It's just like how weird, how bizarre, like this little nightmare sequence in the middle of a werewolf movie. It's like you think you're here for werewolf thrills, and it's like, ooh, Nazi mutant zombie things come in, and they're just causing a ruckus, killing your family and shit. It's like, whoa.
What's happening here?
But I feel you. No, I enjoyed it. I need to check out Paris maybe next year in the season of sequels. Yeah. Add it to the pile.
The humor is a little bit more silly.
Yeah.
For sure, you know what I'm saying? But I still rolled with it.
It was funny.
It was
the first one.
I enjoyed some of the things that they did do in the second one. Some of the jokes. I was like, silly, yes, but
oh yeah, I'm not above silly.
You know what I'm saying?
I love some good silly jokes.
I was like, it's I like obviously that's kind of the vibe they were going for, so it's like I accept it.
A great little segue. Speaking of silly, and getting a kick out of it sometimes, I did rewatch Hubie Halloween to kick off my week. When you were going on your movie bender, watching like everything, as assigned, I was watching Hubie Halloween. And this is like the third or fourth time I've seen this fucking movie. I've seen it.
I watched it the one time with you.
I've seen it more times because it's one of those.
I think we watched it together the first time.
I watched it. I was house sitting the first time I saw it, when it came out on Netflix, and I was like, I watched it the first time by myself. I enjoyed it, and then like I think within 24 hours, rewatched it with like my cousin, and then like not too long after I rewatched it with you. And it was just one of those movies where I'm like, oh, yeah, this is funny. It's Halloween. We can throw that on. And I rewatched it the other day and I'm like, oh, man, that movie's so silly. You know, talk about silly. And I forgot how silly it was until I was watching it again. I'm like, that's right. This is fucking silly. But I get a kick out of it.
I do remember it being silly and I do remember laughing, but it has been a few years since I've watched it.
It is a fun...
So it's not one that's like...
I like it.
Prominent.
As far as like a Halloween movie goes, it's a nice one to just like throw on for the Halloween vibes. I do like, I like my horror. I like my spooky stuff. We like our dark stuff. But I like having that like arsenal of like nice family spooky movies and stuff too. Like, or just, just more Halloween vibes. Like I don't need the fucking blood and guts. I don't need these horrific things, going on all the time. I take a trip down to Halloween Town a couple times a year. Sometimes if I'm feeling frisky, I'll go all four, back to back to back. They might just get replayed,
Oh, wow.
But just lighter stuff in general. Yeah. I put Poltergeist in that list, which is also in my top 10. Poltergeist.
I've seen it the one time.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was alright.
Nothing gets past you.
Phil
doesn't even have a top 10. That's how stingy he is.
Yeah. It takes a lot for a movie to wow me, I feel like sometimes.
Ooh, wow. Yeah.
But I don't know. We have to rewatch it. Maybe I was just young and gay at the time. It's always possible.
Hubie Halloween, I didn't mean to do it, but it's a werewolf movie of sorts.
Oh.
Because Steve Buscemi's character is, he's thought to be a werewolf until the end where you realize he thinks he's a werewolf and he's actually like the escaped mental patient.
Oh, that's funny.
Or whatever. Because they think it's like the Michael Myers looking guy the whole movie, but he takes the mask off at the end and he's Rob Schneider and he escaped to go get Steve Buscemi's character, who is crazy and thinks he's a werewolf. So he's running around because he first moves into the neighborhood and he's talking to Adam Sandler and he's like, oh, hey, by the way, Hubie, if you hear any noises or whatever coming from my place, definitely do not come over and check it out, and just being weird. But then like every time you see Steve Buscemi throughout the movie, he's like progressively acting like stranger and stranger and has like more hair on his body. But it's like you find out at the end, he's like glued it onto himself.
That's funny.
It's hilarious.
That is funny.
It's hilarious. He's just like howling and stuff. He's like, I gotta get out of here. And he's just running around. It's hilarious, especially when you realize he was really just this crazy dude.
He's just wild.
Yeah. No, it's a fun little movie. Definitely stupid. Definitely silly.
I might have to rewatch it here at some point.
It's a nice palate cleanser.
I will say, because I have pretty much just been watching.
You've been having nightmares. That's unlike you.
Yeah. Well, I feel like Nightmare is pushing it, but definitely more on like the darker side of things, for sure. To the point where it's like, I do wake up uneasy. You know what I'm saying? For sure, like, not to downplay it, but
yeah, I feel you.
It's just like weird. Just weird dreams. Don't like it.
I feel you. My thing with dreams and nightmares, like from watching horror movies so much, is most of my dreams, some people might be like, I had a nightmare last night if they had the dreams that I had, because mine are just like steeped in darkness sometimes.
Yeah,
it's just like,
I feel you.
There's just zombies, there's monsters, there's maybe a killer or two, maybe people are dying, but at the same time, I'm not like I'm not like waking up in a cold sweat. Like, you know, every now and then I get a real, you know,
jolt.
Crazy dream that really freaks me out, but like, you know, it's weird how common it all feels, you know, but I feel like it's due to having watched so many horror movies. It's kind of seeped into my dreams. Especially, I've noticed over like the course of like over a decade, is like zombies are a big one in my dream. Like for like as far as like a scary dream that I should wake up from, but I don't. It's zombie dreams. Like every fucking time I'll have these dreams where like, it's some sort of, either it's happening, it's been happening, it's over, like something. And it's like, it's just like a dream. It's like, whatever. Like, this is our day to day. Sometimes it's a little tense. It's like Walking Dead up in here. And I'm like, I don't even watch Walking Dead like that. So you know? But I just live it whenever I go to sleep, I guess. It's just casual. It's very casual. Very casual zombie world.
Your subconscious is used
fighting
to
the undead, I guess. I don't know.
It doesn't feel abnormal to it at the time. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the weird thing about dreams. It's like, it feels pretty something like real while it's happening. And then it's like, always for me, it's always little things. I'll notice things. I'm like,
what? Huh? Like Inception.
Yeah, like this isn't real. And then I'll wake up.
And then you anger your dream people. Get them.
See,
Get them. He knows it's a dream. Get them.
I've never had that happen. I'd cry. Wake up crying if my dream people came after.
I feel like when I have a nightmare, it's because it's like more personal. Like the time you fucking murdered me through the eye hole, or maybe you tried to. You said you might want to close your eyes for this, buddy, and put the gun to the fucking peephole of the door and was going to shoot me. I was like, oh. And you did, because what freaked me out about that dream, or maybe it wasn't that dream, but it was a different one where you tried to kill me. I don't know what was going on that week, but just to be clear, this isn't a common thing. It was just these 2 times in a week. I guess it was a rough week for us, I guess.
Who knows?
But no, I had that dream where like I got shot and I could like feel myself dying.
Oh yeah, I remember you telling me.
And I woke up like wigs, dude. I was just like, I just died. Like I just died.
You had to triple check yourself.
I really did. I had to be like, did I just pass on to a new life, a new body? Is this what it is? Like, did I just? It was just so fucking weird, dude. Like,
that is weird. I killed you?
I don't know if you were the one that killed me in that dream. You were definitely there.
Someone.
I feel like it might have been the other person that you like introduced to me in all this. But maybe it was you. I don't know. Somebody shot me. I do know that much.
Someone shot you and you died.
But that's what fucked me up. Like,
there.
I woke up and I could feel the bullet hole, like where it was. I'm just like, God, it's trippy shit, dude. I've always, you know. We're not going to get into my history with dreams here because it's extensive and I've talked about it on other shit. But trippy stuff, dude.
That is wild. I don't have crazy dreams like that. Not really.
No. But, you know, it's funny because, like, not too long ago, we were talking about me watching Kangaroo Jack and Chamber of Secrets a whole bunch when it came out. I watched it so much that eventually they both gave me individual nightmares. Nightmares that, like, you know, when those movies even come out? It was like 2001, maybe?
Something like
2003.
Yeah.
But, like, I would have been a kid, and, like, to this day, I remember every fucking detail of those nightmares. Like, it was, they rattled me, and I was like, maybe I don't watch Kangaroo Jack and Chamber of Secrets for a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, that's all there is to it. Maybe I stop.
There have been like scary dreams that like are prominent.
Yeah.
Like from a kid.
Oh yeah.
That I can just like almost vividly remember.
I know. Maybe that's what I need to do. I just write down all of like the dreams and nightmares I still remember that like really impacted me from back in the day.
The worst one, it's a quick one, so because I feel like we do need to still got other movies.
Right, we got other movies to talk about.
But I was in like a bank.
Dreams
setting.
are just head movies. We watch everything.
I was like in a big lobby, empty, and then
a bank. You said?
Oh yeah, like a bank like setting, and all of a sudden, all these body limbs.
Oh my god!
Started like a lot, like cover like the whole floor. So I'm trying to run. I got like foots and arms like grabbing me and shit.
Ooh.
And then they suffocate me and I die. I woke up and I didn't want to sleep for a week after that. It fucked me. And I know what caused it too. I remember on the school bus, this guy had like, you know, like the balls like with the strings and stuff, but it was fingers instead. And it like really like I remember seeing it and like was disturbed. You know, it really obviously it fucked with me because then I dreamt of body parts after that, like that night. But yeah, terrible dream, terrible. See,
now I want to share one. See
what
you've done.
You got to.
But no, there's one that always freaked me out when I was younger because it felt so real. Because like, you know, because sometimes you have a dream about your house, but you know it's like not quite your house. There's just something about it that's like, okay, well, we don't actually.
This is why I live here.
This home, you know? But like when you have a dream where it's like it's your house, like there's nothing different about it.
It is the blueprint,
and that's how it was in this dream where it was like me and my sister Cameron were it was just the two of us at home, and you know she's 4 years younger. I forget how old I was when this dream was going on. Maybe like late elementary, maybe like 5th, 6th grade, probably. And we're home alone, and we had like a little like porch going out the back, I guess. And so like I left the room and I come back and like she's nowhere to be seen now. And the back door of the porch, like they're open. And like I'm like, what? I'm discovering these things and I look out and I see these people like in like black masks and stuff like taking her. Like they put her in a bag. And they're literally taking her like across like my neighbor's yard, like towards this tree line we had. Yeah. So I take off running after them, and by the time I get to the tree line, my sister has been murdered. Good God. I know. You want to talk about waking up just not okay. Because that dream,
Cameron's room woke her up. I love you.
Dude, that dream stuck with me for a long time, man.
Obviously.
It messed me up because I feel like it was a dream that I had another time. Like I feel like I had that dream another time, and that really fucked me up. Because I'm like, that second time there was like that sense of familiarity, or I was like, wait a minute, this shit's happened before. Then I get to the tree line, and there's the bag with my sister, and I'm just like, damn, like, but then it like stuck with me because it was so real. It wasn't like dreamlike. It was like, that was your yard, dude. So then I'm like, hey, you are not allowed to play outside by yourself, just to be clear. But yeah, it was a freaky
premonition.
Yeah, I don't like that shit. But yeah, just close out the show. We're done talking about movies. That's what happened. And then 2 episodes in, and at the end, we always like start becoming Phil and Chase do something else.
And we shouldn't be getting towards the end. We still
got plenty to talk about.
We do.
Yeah, this episode is sponsored by Dreams.
By Dreams.
Most of us have them. Yeah, so fucking... speaking of trauma and scaring people, I finished watching Ghostwatch.
Oh, yeah.
And that was brought to my attention when I saw that Late Night with the Devil earlier this year.
Oh, yeah.
Which was pretty solid. I saw it in theaters. It was a fun little movie theater experience. But, yeah, I was watching it, and I started half of it and then didn't finish the other part until much later. So I didn't really know what happened.
Right.
Basically, to sum it up, I totally, because people are like, I guess, genuinely traumatized by this program when it aired on the BBC. And I get it. Now that I've seen it, I get it. Not that I found it traumatizing, but if I was a citizen of the UK in 1991 or 1992 when this came out, and I'm, especially because it said, they don't hide the fact that it's a TV movie. They don't hide that. But the thing was talking about how, when it aired, a lot of people were finishing up something on a different channel and then tuning in later.
Right.
Bro. So I'm a UK citizen. It's 1992, close to Halloween night. I flip over to the BBC. They've got this thing that looks to be like a live BBC broadcast with all the news anchors that you see on the BBC at the time,
Right.
You're watching it. Oh, they're going to a haunted house. It's basically if if today you turned on Paranormal Activity and had no fucking idea what it was, and somebody's like, we've got footage of a real haunted house, like they just played it on the news, and you'd be like, you'd stand up out of your chair and go, oh my God. You'd get your family packed up. You don't know where you're going. You just know you got to go. You just got to, and like, it was very similar to like the War of the Worlds thing, back in the day, the radio play that freaked everybody out.
Yeah.
But I get it. Like as it progressed, it literally is like basically like a Paranormal Activity or like maybe like the Last Exorcism kind of vibe. It's like a found footage movie, basically.
Yeah.
But like I said, given all that, like if I'm watching it and the way the camera starts glitching out, the way everybody runs out of the studio at the end, if I'm watching this, I'd be like, honey, get in here. Honey, get in here. Like, you're not going to believe what's happening. Like, get in here. Kids, get out of here. Fucking, just like chaos.
Yeah. That'd be wild.
Chaos. I could definitely see where this program just caused a ruckus when it came out. But
it's about to be a war.
Not super rewatchable, I'll give you that. Like, just, it was one of those that, like, I'm glad to have seen it, I guess. Just for that little bit of cinema history, I guess, but
yeah,
not quite as effective today. It does come across as like a, Paranormal Activity kind of deal. But
I feel you. Well, especially if it's a fake programming too.
Right. Yeah, that'll usually do the trick.
It's not like that's kind of like with the Blair Witch Project,
right? Which
a little bit, which I never watched.
Even when Paranormal Activity came out, like I feel like that was our generation's thing, but like. We all knew it was a movie. It was the thing. Like they didn't try to. So it does lead me to think like, what's going to be our generation's thing? That's like,
what are we?
Oh my God, that scared the shit out of me. I was prepared to, honey, get the kids.
What are we gonna do?
Pack your shit. We gotta go. Yeah,
we'll freak out a generation.
Let's do it. Just ruin people's day. Yeah, well, I think that almost exhausts the ones that I've seen. I only got one left. That might send us on. So I don't know if you had any stragglers that you saw.
I did see Howl.
Howl.
I watched that last night. I enjoyed it. We talked a little briefly about it earlier. The one thing that I didn't care the most about was the werewolf, and I was saving it for the podcast.
Yes.
And it's because it's like they looked like, you remember like in the first Lord of the Rings when they made the giant ogre and like they pulled him out or whatever. And he's all like big and like snarly and shit.
Sure.
That's like what they looked like. They looked like just big humans, essentially, with like a fucked up face.
Okay.
And their eyes grow. Like that was like their werewolf. And I was like, I don't know. Like the rest of the story I enjoyed because it's essentially about like these people on a midnight train.
Yeah.
And it breaks down the tracks and then there's werewolves. You know what I'm saying? But like it was cool because it's like I enjoyed the fact that it was like I enjoyed the story.
Well, I like that. It sounds nice and simple.
You know what I'm saying? So like, and because everyone on that train was a dick to the main guy at first. Like he gets on he's just doing his job.
Right.
He's just asking for tickets. Yeah. He's not trying to bust your balls. And everyone's like, just attitude, remark. I'm like, leave the man alone. Like, come on now. And then it just kept happening. And then the driver gets out, goes and checks the shit out. Then he gets capped off at one point. And he's like, well, Dad. And it's like, okay. So now they're just all waiting. And they're like, what's going on? He's like, I don't know. And then one woman's like, what are you not telling us? What? And he's just like,
I don't know, dog.
I'd say he's gone. What do you want me to tell you? And then they pretty much bully him into letting them off the train. He's like, I'm gonna get fired and I'll let you guys off the train.
He lets them off the train and mutters under his breath, I hope a bunch of werewolves fucking eat you guys. Yeah.
And so then it's like that whole thing. And then but one thing I don't like about movies is when they make a person out bitchy and then they try to redeem them right before death. It's like, don't do that.
If it's right before the death, it's not going to matter.
It's like if you were... It's the same thing with Terrifier 2 that I feel like happened in this one. Like, this girl's a bitch the whole time. Like, she was like saying that dude was staring at her boobs when he was checking her ticket, called him a perv, just being a real nasty person, right? And I'm like, he ain't doing nothing to you. Like, what? Like, I get you're like a teenager and shit, but don't be like that. Don't be like that. Don't do Joe like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then towards like whenever she's about to get it, it's like this other lady comes out who was also being the bitch, the one that was telling me like, why are you not telling us? Like, she went over and talked to the girl. And she's like, I also have a daughter, and they had like a whole sweet moment or whatever, and then the teenager ate it. She got a phone call, and they're like, "Oh, you have service," and pretty much like backed her up into the room, and then through the window it went. But I don't know, it was decent, but overall, I did like the werewolf itself. I did not like the rest of the movie. I thought it was. I thought it was good.
Check that one out.
So I'd recommend it. I'd say it's worth a watch. At least.
What else did you watch? Stragglers. You said you don't want to get into the Lighthouse.
No, we'll just save.
You know what? We'll save that. I'll watch the Lighthouse, and I'm gonna rewatch Killing of a Sacred Deer because I know you got some rants built up inside of you.
Yes.
So I'll plan to watch some A24 horror movies,
and then
we'll reconvene before the end of spooky season.
Oh yeah, I'll have to rewatch the Lighthouse.
Yeah, you will.
Because it was. I will say it was weird. Yeah. To say the
least.
That's
what I've heard about it. So I like to think that my expectations are set.
Oh yeah, I'm sure you'll enjoy it.
Yeah.
I was watching. I'm like, I feel like Chase is gonna enjoy this more than
Chase is going to fucking love it.
And there's things that I definitely liked about it, but it was. I didn't know what to expect going into it. I went very blind. I'm like. Remember the little caption? Like I knew it was two Watchmen.
It's weird.
Watchmen who are losing their sanity. I'm like, okay, so So I get that, but definitely one. It's like it's a lot to digest all at once. I feel like you need to like.
I've heard some crazy shit about it.
You need experience. Let it kind of marinate a little bit. Kind of let that settle, and then just keep going.
You could almost just call that the A24 process. I feel like that's how I feel every time I watch an A24 movie. Almost every time I feel like at the end of it, that's how I feel. I'm like, what just happened? What did I just watch? And then I gotta kind of let it soak in and be like, did I like it? And then I'm like, yeah, hey, I did like it. Actually, you know what? I fucking loved it, but not every time. The process doesn't go like that every time.
I would be curious to watch it again because there's some things where I'm just like, I don't know how I feel about this.
Yeah, no,
and but we'll see. We'll see what happens.
The Evil Bong movies, I guess.
Oh yes, I did watch all 3 Evil Bongs.
I haven't seen any of those.
I almost don't want to watch any more of them. There are 8. I probably will watch all 8 of them. But the first 3 are all set with like the same characters, so it's like the same storyline. And I know it's just going like I was looking into it a little bit more, and one guy stays for like 2 more, and then it's just like. Just people out there. I'm like, we'll see. We'll see how I feel. But I don't know. It was funny. I enjoyed like what they did with it. It was always you haven't seen any of them, have you?
No.
Oh well, it's weird. It's like so like when they smoke the bong is like how it gets its spirit or like gets its spirit. So they're smoking on it and like. So the first time it happens, because it's like, it takes your soul or whatever. So I thought that was going to be the end of it. I swear to God, this is like, what? It was like a thing. Because it was a thing for every single one of them. It was like the whole premise of the fucking movie at this point. But you go into like the ball or whatever. And like, it was, I didn't know what to expect when I was watching it. And the first one was just set in a strip club. Like, so every time, like, they take the spirit, like, they just walk into the strip club. And it was, like, so, like, I don't know. After, I think they had, like, some kills in the second and third one. They kind of just said, no, we're just going to stick to this kind of premise. But, like, they had, like, a few deaths, but then they kind of just said whatever and just canceled them out later. But, like, they had to destroy the bong to get out. And so, like, everyone was just, like... After the first one, I think the second and third one, they kind of just lean more into like the silliness of it. As they I felt like, I felt like the first one was maybe kind of trying to be scary a little bit, but it just didn't come off that way.
To loop back to a previous point to kind of connect some dots here, what I was saying about Candyman 3 about just how like weirdly sexual they made that movie. I expect that kind of thing out of an evil Bong film. Like, you know, the gratuitous nudity, like it makes more. Like the gratuitous sexuality in a film like that makes far more sense to me. There's more of a place for it rather than like a Candyman movie.
It was funny too because it was like pretty minimal. It's just like they were like just there to be like you had like two dancers in the background, and then you just had like the one.
You're just established,
and then you had the one evil one there. So, but I thought it was interesting that they even kept having the same people. I was like, oh, I wasn't expecting this, but it must have been like their little fucking thing that they did. So I enjoyed it for a while. So like in that regard, for like them just going out there and doing the thing, you know, I'm like, you know what? Good for you guys. I won't definitely don't hate on it.
Yeah, I feel you.
It's a decent one to if you want to, you know, smoke and watch. Definitely wouldn't be like the worst time in the world. I feel like
no doubt. Well, yeah. I guess if there are any others that we were missing, fuck them.
Fuck them. I guess. I still want to touch on Ginger Snaps.
I was gonna say. That's what I was gonna say. We're gonna close out on Ginger Snaps.
But other than that, I can't think of too many others that
with your werewolf.
We had the list and then we even.
Yeah, it's. I don't know if I can open it while we're recording.
You have to do it on paper.
I know. I fucked up. All I know is I've covered my movies. I can't speak for yours. You're the one not writing shit down.
Well, I don't
because I don't have a pen. Come on.
I looked for the other day.
Come on. A pen. Steal a pen. Get a pen. Hey, can I sign this one? And then you just don't get the pen back.
Oh, for that stealing.
Anyways, Ginger Snaps. Werewolf Fever. Which was, you know, you were on your little werewolf kick, and then it was like the full moon this week.
That was funny.
And I didn't even put it together until like the next day. I was like, damn, because it was like I looked outside middle of the night, and it was like daytime. Like, that's how full moon it was. I believe we had a super full moon this week or some shit. Yeah.
I chose
which might have been why we all woke up at the same time.
It might have been at 4:30. Did anyone else wake up at like 4:30 in the morning? Like what, 2 days ago?
Yeah. From when this was recorded, not when.
Yeah, which would I guess be what the 19th.
Now, if you're doing it just 2 days before you heard that, if a lot of people were like, "Hey, actually, 2 days before I listened, we've got a weirder problem."
How'd you know?
Wait, what?
It's common for people to just wake up at 4:30.
Yeah, that's just a thing. It happens sometimes. Yeah, it's called a coincidence. Anyways,
but
Ginger Snaps.
Let's see.
Ginger Snaps. I watched the first one, and if I'm not mistaken, is this what got you on your kick? Is Ginger Snaps?
I did start with Ginger Snaps.
Which I guess first and foremost, let me say this about Ginger Snaps. I never knew. I'm saying Ginger Snaps.
Oh, there is one I forgot about, but I'll quickly end on that.
Okay. What I should say is Ginger Snaps, which I never fucking put together. I thought this was like a Heathers or like a Mean Girls situation where these two girls are the Ginger Snaps, but no, Ginger, the character, snaps. Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
I thought that was funny.
Yeah.
Because I was saying about that. I was like, it definitely, Ginger did snap.
Another nice surprise was the girl who played the younger sister, Bridget, I believe was her name.
Yes, it was.
I was like, she was so like perfectly awkward and stuff, like for the part. And I'm like, but who is this chick? Like, where have I seen her before? She played Beverly Marsh in like the OG like It miniseries. And I was like, okay. So I had, another little horror classic under her belt. But yeah, Ginger Snaps is one of those little cult classics I've just never gotten around to. And quick thoughts for me is that it was I definitely see where Jennifer's Body got a lot of like inspiration from this. Felt like Jennifer's Body of its time. I liked the whole balance of like the werewolf puberty, like
When I knew about that, like going into it, so I was able to kind of just ride with that. I kind of got what they were going for and stuff. I got period. So I mean, some others might.
I got it. I enjoyed it. Yeah.
One thing I will say about Ginger Snaps, Mom of the Year award. To that mom,
for sure.
We'll just blow up the house and leave.
Listen,
what about Dad? He'll just blame me anyway.
Right. Hey, you know what? And the thing is, when that scene happened,
I got you, girls. It's just us.
Because he was so passive that, like, in that moment, I'm like, well, he's not gonna do anything now. Like, you know, when she's just like, you know what? Fuck him.
I thought she was gonna kill him. What my thing was. It's like, why not take him? Like, what did
She might be Mother of the Year, but I don't know if she's Wife of the Year.
Yeah,
but my man's needed to speak up more because he didn't. Like the one time he did was like after they left the room, and then he says something that I'm like, well, why didn't she say that literally like 30 seconds before?
Yeah, he tried to say the thing about the finger. She's like, oh, they're just props.
Right. Yeah.
But they knew they weren't. I brought him with you.
Yeah.
What are these? Why are there fingers in the yard? I had to lie to his father.
This is disgusting. Do I have to blow up the house and kill your father?
I left the oven on just in case.
Just in case.
Yeah, I thought it was cool. The wolf part was alright.
Yeah.
I felt like it was a little...
The werewolfness of it.
Yeah. I was like,
on a werewolf scale, you wouldn't give it like 5 moons out of 5.
No, definitely not. I give it
like a crescent moon.
I give it like a 3. I give it 3 moons.
It's fair. Like I said, I feel like the final werewolf that you see at the end is kind of similar to the final werewolf you see in American Werewolf.
Yeah.
Just maybe not quite as good.
Right.
You know?
And white.
Right. And white, which was also a choice. And it had the titties too, which was also a choice. But I understood. I was like, I got it. She's female. But also, like, if you're a wolf, like, if you're a dog, like, I got... Actually, at one point, I did think she was growing additional nipples. But that was not the case. It was just the way the prosthetic looked. Like, when she was, like, lifting her shirt up and was, like, coming on to whoever, I was like, is she growing other nipples? Is she becoming, like a dog? Like a wolf?
Right.
You know? But yeah, I could definitely see where this was one of those movies that like just I won't name names, you know who you are, but like there are definitely people within my life, people I know that saw this at an early age, and it meant something to them. I could tell this transformed some people in other ways, you know, like this was like, I don't know, you know the girls, you know, it's just like they saw something like that because we, you know, as boys, I feel like there's a lot of movies like that for boys. Like you see it at a young age and it just kind of like sets you on a certain path where you're just like, you really identify with it, I guess is what you can say. You can almost make the jump with the I Saw the TV Glow with like their pink opaque, how they felt where it kind of had their, you know, they wrapped their identity up in this show and kind of really formed who they were as people. But I definitely see that with Ginger Snaps. I definitely see where people probably saw this movie when they were of a certain age and were like, damn.
Yeah.
Yeah. And,
back in the 2004.
And it hit for them and they really identified with it. Like, especially like, you know, those girls who do like, they like death and dark stuff and witches and like, those goth chicks who are just like these. Yes, this is my fucking movie. Like
this is me.
Yes,
I'm Ginger.
I am Ginger, and I'm gonna snap. Whoa.
Yeah. I did enjoy.
I
did enjoy the second one.
Never got around to the sequels. I guess I have to save that for the season of sequel. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. The same 2 actresses, are they in all 3?
Yes.
As like the same, are they still the center? Like,
they are the
interesting.
The second one is from Bridget's perspective. It takes like after the place of the first one.
Okay.
And so.
Oh, well, now I'm excited. Maybe I won't wait till next year.
Maybe so then she like is taking the medicine and like ODs and it's like in a mental hospital, and that's kind of the setting that you're working with there.
Oh, okay.
I enjoyed it. And like I said, I like
Bridget Snaps.
And you know what? There's things I liked about it, and then there's I guess things I didn't. But other than that, I don't know.
Well, maybe I'll check it out.
I think it's worth a watch. And if you're ending the series on 2, sad. It's a sad story. It's just it is.
Well, then don't get it. I definitely
I won't get too far ahead, and then. Ginger Snaps 3 was, I felt...
like a prequel day.
It was, it was kind of
weird. They did an Underworld 3.
There's like, Ginger Snaps Back is what it was called, and then...
yeah.
And then, I don't know. I mean, it was
that's a fun title. Just
yeah. I mean, it was all right. I enjoyed it, but there's something.
I feel like I'm more intrigued by the fact that it's like the same two actresses, even on the prequel.
Yeah.
You know,
I feel like I would have done the third one differently, but if you watch it, we can talk about that another day.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. We'll say that.
So I do it overall. I'd say I enjoyed the ginger snaps.
Yeah, from what I've seen so far, I did. I like even from like the opening where it's doing all of the deaths.
Yeah, I thought that was cool.
I liked these sisters. I did even I related with it. It was like I know people like this. And especially like growing up, like when I was younger, people who were like this, they were into this kind of stuff. And like, so I think there's just that relatability to it, but also I like this grunginess too, to the movie. Like it definitely felt like a more indie flick at the time, which is why I didn't care so much about how the werewolf looked.
Yeah, I forgave it. I definitely forgive
you. I forgive you. Go for it.
And I guess one more thing I'll say is, I watched American Mary.
Oh, that's right.
I did, and because I was typing in American Werewolf, and then I just
did you mean American Mary? You're like, no, but I'll watch it.
And so I was like, I remember when we were saying at Collins that he watched it,
right?
I remember not wanting to watch it because I wasn't, watching it. Now I definitely could have sat there and watched it, but I didn't know what to expect.
I kind of feel that way as well if I went back and rewatched it, because I only saw the bits and pieces and I was like, I don't think this is for me.
Yeah, because it really wasn't all that bad. Yeah. But like it was weird. You know what I mean? Like not really weird. I kind of like got what they're going for. The only reason why I even watched it was because Ginger was Mary. So I was like, it's been about, I think that movie came out about like 9 years later. I was like, I'll be interested to see like if her acting styles change or anything like that. But I don't know. Her character just seemed very, it's like blah. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like just a very kind of like a monotone way of talking and expressions and stuff like that. I mean, I got that's kind of what the character was supposed to be like and stuff. And I understood like the whole premise of the story and shit like that with what goes on and why she does what she does. But overall, it's just all right. I was like, it was okay. There's one thing that was really weird. That was like at one point a police officer comes out of nowhere. So they're like in a basement somewhere or something. He just shows up and she just kills him. And it's just like it never showed showed him never seeing her, following her. Like all of a sudden he's just there. She's obviously been there for like a while. Like she has like her own little setup. And it's like now all of a sudden this dude just like pops up out of nowhere. I was like, I don't know how I feel about that. But that was really about the only, I don't know. If you watch it again, there's probably more stuff I'll talk about. But for now, I'll just leave it at that. But so it was decent, but there's little things that I just thought were weird choices to make.
The last thing I'll throw out to just stick with the werewolf theme is that as we've been talking about werewolf stuff all this week and werewolf movies, the werewolves are about to have a big year, it looks like, coming up. Because I told you there's that one coming out in December called Werewolves. I felt like that had an interesting premise because it was like the trailer was like in December of last year or whatever, millions of people were turned into werewolves like by this like super full moon or whatever. I was like, oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. So then it's like, it's the year after and it's all happening again. And like, so it's got the dude that was in those Purge movies, Frank Grillo. He's in it. And it looked pretty solid. You'd have to let me know what you think of that werewolf design. Interesting choice, I think. But then the other one that looks really good, they're doing the Wolfman, but it's the guy who did the Invisible Man back in 2020.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So he's doing his take on the Wolfman, and they just released a trailer for that. Interesting premise. I feel like how they're going with that is like this guy is with his family, and they're going somewhere, and then they get attacked by this werewolf. Like their car gets ran off the road, whatever. Then they get attacked by this werewolf. They escape. They get to like this house or something to hole up inside of, but the dad's been scratched, and like the dad is slowly becoming a werewolf, but I think there's still the other werewolf outside.
So it's like a double whammy.
Yeah, and it's like, man, it almost looks like it's going to be kind of heartbreaking in a way. I feel like, just like with the dad and the family as he's turning.
What a decision to make.
But man, the trailer was damn good. I was like, shit. I was like,
What
because
was
if it's
this?
as good as the Invisible Man, the Wolf.
Oh,
Man,
the Wolf
yeah.
Man. You did say that.
I was like, man, this guy's got something going for himself here.
I mean,
Not that he didn't before. He made Insidious and Saw, and I think he's doing just fine. But
yeah,
I like his, like, because these are the ones he's been directing and stuff. And Lee Wanell is the guy's name. But yeah, I'm excited for that one.
Well, I am now.
Werewolves getting their due.
Their time to shine.
Love it.
I love it too.
Go dancing in the full moonlight.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
All right. Well, what's your favorite werewolf movie?
Yeah.
What do you look for in a werewolf?
What do you like? What do you not like?
Yeah. Let's hear your opinions on werewolves, everybody. And if you got one, if you can argue why vampires are better, you're welcome to do so.
Yeah, because I am about to go on a vampire kick.
Yeah,
so.
right. We're gonna have to switch gears at one point, so just get us lubed up for that. Phil, do you have any big questions to spring on me like last time?
I don't think so. We covered I feel like the big question the first time. What makes a franchise a franchise? Was,
true. Yeah, we got it out of the way early.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know if you're gonna do this thing to get back at me for the Phil's top fives or whatever.
Oh no!
Where every episode you just hit me with a question I'm not expecting. You just had like.
I will.
No, it's okay.
No, now I'm going to.
Okay.
Now you've inspired me. I don't have one this week.
Oh, okay.
You get a pass this week.
Okay, but you're just now he writes shit down. Now he's got a notebook of questions.
I'll find a stick and shave it down and turn it into a makeshift pencil.
Jesus Christ. All right, well, let's Phil and Chase watch everything. That's it. I don't know. Yep. We don't have a special closeout.
I'm Phil, and
he's Phil, and I'm Chase, and we got more shit to go watch.
This week.
That was this week, and we'll see you next week. All right, thanks.
Bye.